Hey Rohit, welcome man.
Hey, Prasanna. Yes, I'm excited for this session today. So we are testing Claude and ChatGPT MCP integration with HubSpot. And I see the Opus 4.5 and ChatGPT 5.1 loaded on your screen.
This is SOTA, state of the art. Claude actually released Opus 4.5 today. A lot of noise, but we're going to test it out and see what's the real deal. What we have done is we have connected to HubSpot through the HubSpot MCP. HubSpot MCP is essentially just a layer on top of their APIs. And we're going to see what these systems can do. The setup that we have is where there is a lot of data in HubSpot, which kind of mimics a typical scaled up company setup in HubSpot. As you can see, I started with a simple question: how many contacts I have in HubSpot, both with Claude and ChatGPT, and we got the response. So this is kind of baseline and we go from there. So Rohit, you're going to guide me through this test. I'm sharing my screen, but you are the marketer, you created this data set. As a marketer, what do you expect from these systems in your day-to-day, both from checking in on your data, doing forward checks on your business, and also doing a little bit of more advanced data analysis to get a detailed understanding of what's happening? So guide me through what kind of questions you want to ask, and we will try it in both the systems and see where these systems stand. And also, obviously, we'll talk over this. So I start with number of contacts, but what next? What is the next question that you would ask?
Yes. First of all, I just want to call out, it really feels good to have an analyst in my team. So welcome to my team. So basically, you have asked how many contacts. That's a question you asked to check if the data is connected. But where marketing makes or breaks is understanding how many MQLs, or as we say, marketing qualified leads. That is literally the first thing every day I want to ask my system.
Let's ask it. So how many marketing qualified leads do I have? And we don't want the system to confuse. We're just saying it, marketing qualified leads / MQLs. And
because that's how our data is structured in it as well. We call it marketing qualified leads as a lifecycle state. So it just gives more fun.
So ChatGPT came back pretty fast. It said 27,011.
You'll have to allow on the Claude thing.
Got it. It's doing a tool call, so I have to give it permission, which is fine. It's a one-time thing. Okay, we got 27,011. That is good. Claude is going a little bit deeper, throwing some insight based on the context it already has. So this is 19.3% of your total contacts. That's pretty good. Okay, what next?
So the report that I usually create every week that I send across to the entire team, that always has a channel-wise breakdown because I want to understand where are these MQLs coming from. You can ask me what channels are contributing to this or a channel-wise breakdown.
Let's do that. We will paste the exact question. We'll go with Claude first and then ChatGPT. It'll be very interesting to see because I know that the HubSpot API does not support breakdowns like this. It's a group by or an aggregation on an API. The API does not support. But it'll be interesting to see how these systems actually respond. ChatGPT is saying, I was not able to find any property in HubSpot metadata that indicates a channel. It retrieved some properties, but not all. So it couldn't find it out. Do you know the actual property for the channel, the column where this information is there?
Yeah, there are a couple of things. I'm disappointed that it could not figure out, but I understand that everything sounds the same. Can you use the HS_analytics source? This is my source of truth for source.
Like channel is a more broad keyword. It didn't map it to source. That's fine. But Claude already came back. It's saying this is the split. It'll be interesting to see if these numbers actually match. Okay, I wasn't able to retrieve information from the documents that were returned in search. Oh my God, ChatGPT is struggling.
Can you switch the model from 5.1 to 5? For some reason, it goes into something like that. Can you recheck? I want to solve a hunch for myself.
Okay.
And in the meanwhile, we can check what Claude really did, what column did it pick, because I know the numbers are correct.
Okay, good. Yes, you're right. Your hunch is right. 5.1 struggled, but 5 kind of figured it out. That's pretty interesting. So ChatGPT is struggling. What it is saying is, because API endpoint does not support direct aggregation query format, it's saying I can still get the breakdown and telling them programmatically or something.
I'll tell you, because I've been testing this for the past 3 months, right? Since the time it came out. There is no predictable way to figure out whether this will work this time or not. So every time I sit with ChatGPT and the MCP integration, every week, it's a different answer.
What ChatGPT is saying here is, approach 1 is it'll fetch a larger sample data set, not all the MQLs, which is 27,000. It's going to fetch about 500 to 1,000 contacts and then calculate the distribution and approximate to 27,000. I don't want that. I want the actual data. Or it is saying retrieve all MQL contacts in multiple batches to compute the full exact channel-wise count. It's saying option 2 will be really slow but precise. I want to go for option 2. That's the precise answer. Well, let's see how long it takes, right? But I'm actually going to ask Claude, hey, how did you calculate this? Did you look at all of my MQLs? Okay, so what's happening is this is Opus 4.5, the latest and the greatest, right? That got released today. But if you look at it, it's saying, I did not look at all the MQLs. I just ran separate filtered search for each channel, combining 2 filters. Okay, it's saying lifecycle stage, it ran that filter. And then original traffic source, specific channel. Okay, basically it ran multiple filters, which exactly tells me how many records that match the combination. The sum of all channels matches. So you are sure the result is correct. Okay, so if I employed a hack, basically, but ChatGPT couldn't figure out this hack and it's struggling. Both 5.1 struggle, 5 is also struggling. It's saying batch approach is not working. It's asking me to go and figure this out in HubSpot dashboard. Okay, so Claude got it. That's why Claude was able to do some grouping, but ChatGPT couldn't figure it out, like testing. What next? I want to move forward. This is very interesting.
Yeah, so basically the next step in funnel analysis, which is bread and butter for all marketing teams, is if these are the contacts and if these are the MQLs that are generated, how many of those converted into customers?
Okay.
Now here it has a nuance because customer can also be a life cycle stage and it can also be a deal stage to which a contact is attached. So I would love to see if it can figure out that.
Okay, deal. Yeah. And it's a friend customer based on deal. So deal stage in the deals table. So what we're saying is if for a particular context, the deals get created and if the deals actually convert to customer, right? That's what we want to do. We could potentially try this with ChatGPT, but again, ChatGPT anyways is now struggling. So it's given up, right? So there is no way forward, but let's check this out.
Oh man, this is embarrassing.
Okay, it's really asking me to go on to actually do this in HubSpot. That's not very good. Okay.
The idea of this MCP seems to be give you like a very personalized help talk.
Okay, Claude is doing something. It's saying, oh, there are 729 closed won deals. Now let me find contacts associated with these closed won deals, analyze their original traffic source. Now I'll search for contacts of the customer lifecycle stage. Okay, so it's making that association, right? So what it is saying is 7795 contacts with lifecycle stage customer. Now let me get the channel breakdown for these customers. So essentially, it is not using the deals object. It is only using the contacts object, basically. It did run some queries saying, okay, in the deals object, I found 729 closed won deals. But when it is MQL to customer conversion analysis by channel, it's going by the contact object lifecycle stage, which is customer.
Yeah,
that's what it's kind of going by.
Column. That's easier for it to figure out.
Okay, so I'm going to ask Claude, hey, I see that you are using lifecycle stage column in contacts table to find out if an account is a customer. Check this only based on deals table. Because in many cases, the customer lifecycle stage is not populated in the contacts table. It's only the deals table. Basically, I want to see if it's able to do a join. So between 2 tables, I want to see that.
Because a lot of companies build that workflow where when a deal is put to closed one, all the lifecycle stages update to customers, but then it's not an absolutely reliable way. A lot of companies do not have that workflow.
Correct, exactly. Right. It's saying the HubSpot API does not allow me to filter contacts by associated deal stage directly. Basically, the API doesn't allow for joins. I was saying, let me take a different approach. I'll get contacts associated with closed won deals by searching from the deal side. First, let me get a sample of closed won deals. So I want to see if it is able to look at the entire data set and not just do sampling. Let's see. Here it specifically says the HubSpot search API doesn't support joining filtering. So it's saying, okay, I will retrieve all 79 closed won deals and then look upon the associated contacts from those deals. Given the API limitations, I need to paginate. Okay, great. That's what I would expect. So saying the approach is taking too long, let me use a more efficient method. I can search for contacts that are associated with specific closed won deals by using associated deals filter on contacts, but this would require individual deal IDs. Again, it is saying a better approach is to find contacts that have at least one associated deal and then have HS analytics source. It's figuring out a bunch of different ways of doing it. Again, it's saying actually the most practical approach, given the API limitations is, it's saying, let me be transparent about the limitation, provide you with what I can accurately calculate. So essentially what it's saying is, if we have to do any kind of API call, which is going to do cross-relate from data from two tables, which is very basic of what people want to do, the system is not able to do it, right? So that's what the takeaway from this. And it's not surprising because HubSpot itself doesn't support joins, as Claude pointed out multiple times. That's what is happening here. How do you move this forward? Let's keep this aside. Is there another way of looking at the data from a marketer standpoint? What would you do?
So essentially, I would have ideally wanted to, beyond the customer thing, is basically I would wanted to download that list. But since it's not even getting to the correct number, I would not go ahead with this. Rather, if I put on my ops hat on or a demand gen hat on, if I have data that has matured over the quarters or over years, I absolutely know for a fact that my data is not pristine. So if I have such a system at my disposal, I would want to check what is the state of my data.
Your prompt.
Yes, the easiest of it. How many duplicate contacts are there in my HubSpot?
Okay. Duplicate contacts in my HubSpot contact database.
Prasanna, would you open a new chat? Because Claude,
let's do that.
The limit thing is always there, right?
Yeah, even with ChatGPT, let's go for that. So let me fire this out. And with Claude, so let's fire this. Okay. Again, this is Opus 4.5, state of the art.
Versus 5.1.
The one thing that I like about Claude, though, is all these tool calls. Again, I'm a little bit technical, so I can actually figure this out. I can understand these things better. ChatGPT hides everything, so you really have to figure it out yourself, or it has to explain how it is, right? ChatGPT is very upfront. It's like, I can't directly scan or change your live HubSpot database, so I can't personally run a dedupe job, but I can walk you through the fastest way. So ChatGPT is like 3 out of 5 questions literally told us how to do it in HubSpot. Yeah. It didn't really give us the answer. Claude is trying. Let's see what happens. So here it's running some Python code. I want to see if this comes back with something. I see a lot of emails here. I know these are all fictitious emails that we have created.
Yeah.
But I want to look at the approach and see what it can do. It's saying, I have the first batch of contacts. I can see your 139, 732 contacts. It's saying, let me get a larger sample. Okay. What it's doing is, again, keep finding some initial 200 contacts, standard phone number, estimated impact. It's saying, based on this, there is 5 to 6% duplicate, and it's giving me some recommended actions. Is there any way?
From a layman perspective, like a business user perspective, what it did was it downloaded like 200 contacts out of 140,000 contacts, run an analysis on that, and extrapolated that finding across 140,000.
Correct. It's being very transparent about it though. So it's saying that I've just done this based on 200. Okay. So now I'm saying, can you do this for the entire data set? It's saying, okay, I can scan more data set. I need to work it through in batches. Let me pull a larger sample. Again, it's pulling a larger sample. HubSpot has a pagination limit of 10,000 records. I need to use a different approach, querying by filters to get different segments. Let me create a comprehensive analysis by sampling different parts of your database. This is actually not possible, right? Unless you look at the entire set of records, you cannot do anything. So it's struggling to get the data set. So the thing that I'm seeing here is ChatGPT is upfront, very clear that I cannot do this. This is how you can do it in HubSpot. So at least it's not making us go in rounds. Claude is trying out multiple things. It's just being very creative. Maybe it's Opus 4.5, I don't know. But it's not useful because when someone is running a dedupe number, they don't want estimation. They just want the actual number. That's the simplest thing people. It's like
vibe checking.
So it's saying, okay, use HubSpot's duplicate management. It's pointing us there. But ChatGPT got there upfront. I don't know. Cannot do this. Do it yourself. Okay, this is good. So essentially, the pattern we are seeing is, if you want to run a simple filter on your database, it's pretty straightforward. Both of these systems can do. Group buys worked in Claude. ChatGPT couldn't figure it out. So that was the challenge. But anything that requires, let's say, correlation between data from two tables, lookup of data from one table to another table, not possible. And you want to run some kind of a simple logic on your data set, not possible. In this case, the simple logic is find duplicate emails, not possible. So it's very limiting that way because largely the limitation is coming from HubSpot's API. Anything else, this itself is pretty revealing. But anything else you have in mind that you want to run through this?
I wanted to run something like, can you tell me for the cohort of last month, how many MQLs progress to more lifecycle stages? Because people do genuine cohort analysis very regularly.
So this is actually one table data set. It's not even two tables. You're saying how many MQLs progress to lifecycle stage just in the last 1 month. But do you have the
Yes.
data? Is the data actually captured in that contacts table?
Yeah, and there are multiple lifecycle stages. The only thing it can falter is because it's a testing data set. I don't know if it can understand whether that progress was time-based or not.
Okay, let's fire this, right? Let's just
But I'm
will tell
okay
us
with that, right?
if it can do or
Yes.
not. At least we are doing this comparison. ChatGPT will tell us if it's possible or not. At least it's being very honest about it. But Claude obviously is trying out a bunch of things, right? Okay, ChatGPT is like, I wasn't able to retrieve any usable lifecycle stage properties. Oh, that's pretty disappointing. There is lifecycle stage.
I'm absolutely sure that there's lifecycle stage.
Yeah, actual itself is from lifecycle stage. Okay, this column is there.
Yeah,
the
there's
stage
the one.
column.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing because you can get properties. See, that's the first thing Claude is doing. It's querying the list of properties for these keywords, lifecycle stage, MQL lifecycle. I guess this lifecycle stage. It's there. So let's see what Claude is doing. The thing where the whole thing gets difficult in Claude, in my opinion, is too many tool calls. And if you're not technical enough, it's just very difficult to get hang of what's happening, right? If you expand this, it's all very technical language, very difficult.
I'll tell you from a marketer's or a business user perspective, because I don't understand code. These responses, prima facie looks very clean, very trustable, right? But I don't know what really happened in the background. So whether I can use this in a PPT where I'm presenting it to you or the board, I am not very sure, because that lack of trust, that lack of transparency is absolutely there.
Got it. So I can maybe ask, hey, can you tell me how this was calculated? And if this is 100% accurate and reliable. Yeah, it's very difficult to figure this out by expanding all of these tool calls. It's pretty invigorating, actually. So it's saying no results for October, cycle stage progression analysis. Your HubSpot data shows MQL entries from August or October. This appears to be a test demo data loaded in August. Okay. Still MQL is so much. Progress to opportunity 66. So it's saying, okay, there's nothing in October. That's fine because nothing changed.
Yeah, I'm okay with the weirdness of the data because I know the data is weird because it's a testing data. So I'm not looking at that. But I think it does a good job by just telling me transparently what it found out and what it did.
Okay.
I'm okay with
So
that.
saying I used HubSpot search API to run counts with filter combination, counted all contacts that have blah, 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 date entered marketing qualified lead property set, meaning they entered MQL at some point. For each lifecycle stage, I ran a filtered search combining, is this property there? And this is current stage, right? MQL plus current stage is MQL 27,011, opportunity 66. Okay. It's saying its method is sound, but there are caveats, which is potential gaps, but I can only retrieve data on 10,000 records max. Do you want to audit the list? Okay. Its auditing is limited. So it's saying to make this bulletproof, I could cross-check by verifying the 66 opportunities. Also have this set. Yes, please run that validation. Okay. I think overall this is fine. It's still playing around with the filters. The thing that I'm finding with Claude is it understands the API really well and is able to go very deep. What are the different ways it can use the filters to actually get you an answer? It's able to do. But of course, the not so good thing is when it is not able to do it, it's performing all kinds of hacks and estimation and all, which is not good. ChatGPT is not being so creative, even though we're on 5.1.
ChatGPT.
But it just
ChatGPT
tells
is
you
being
what to do
the-
in HubSpot.
Yeah, it's being the AI support chatbot that we all hate on websites. Not really helpful.
Kind of.
Yeah.
On this one, you're right. It's being like that. Hey, go and do it yourself in HubSpot, basically, something like that. So yeah, I think my overall verdict is Claude is being more creative, but ChatGPT is to the point, can do, cannot do, just that. But of course, creativity comes with issues like estimation, approximation, which is not something people want. Anything else in your mind that you want to share?
I think from a demo perspective or just stress testing perspective, I think this is good enough to paint a picture where both of these stand. Honestly, from a business user perspective, I'll say, okay, Claude is great if I want to quickly check something, which is how many leads came through my Google ad campaigns in the past 1 week, 1 month, whatever. And I can even ask, okay, how many of those leads actually became customer or how many customers did I get in the past 1 month, which is essentially something that is a quick update to the team. So it's great for vibe checking my data, but then how much of that is really useful in my everyday workflow? I am not sure whether I would change my habit and move from my existing systems of reporting to this, or whether this is the solution that was promised. I am not there.
Correct. So basically, the kind of question that it's able to answer, since these are all simple filters, much of this you can just do it in HubSpot yourself, pretty straightforward, right? So, but yeah, good summary. This is state of the art. 5.1 versus Opus 4.5 on the HubSpot MCP connection. So the feedback here is if an MCP connection has to be useful, the MCP capability of that origin system has to be very powerful. That's not the case with HubSpot. So what both Claude and ChatGPT can do is heavily limited by what capability HubSpot's MCP is exposing, which happens to be very limited at this point of time. So that's where we are.
To be honest, I'm a bit disappointed because HubSpot is literally the one SaaS company that keeps on talking about AI and how it is going to change everything. And then beneath the hood, this is what they really release. And see, honestly, if this was the first week of release, I would have been more forgiving. Like we were, when it came out, we tested the same exact thing.
Yeah, it's been a few months actually. I don't think there's been any update on the MCP.
So there's not even a landing page on the website. You have to go through the developer docs to find it out and know what's happening.
So that is the answer, right? They're not focused. So no blame in expecting them not to have release. It's also possible that these companies want to own this interface where people can do stuff. It's no fun that you just become a database and all the interaction is happening in Claude and ChatGPT. That's no fun. And that threatens your core business. So I think these systems will probably want to own this interface. And again, when they will do that, God knows, but I think it'll be something like that. Okay. Anyways, good chat. Thanks for this. Thanks for people listening in. We plan to do more of this state-of-the-art comparison of tech.
We have a coding comparison coming in very soon where we compare Gemini 3 with...
That was a good chat, actually.
So we'll put that next to the series as well. Okay. Thanks, Prasanna. Thanks for bye.